G'day there everyone, welcome to this workshop all about Viva Amplify. The workshop is titled Improving Your Internal Communications with Viva Amplify. Now my name is Daniel Anderson and we are going to step through an end-to-end process to help you improve your internal communication. Now, why are you here? Well, hopefully you're here to learn all about Viva Amplify, and this workshop is going to cover all the essential aspects of Viva Amplify with a clear focus on practical skills that you can immediately apply to improve all of your internal communication workflows. Now, first of all, what is Viva Amplify? Well, Viva Amplify is a cross-channel internal communications hub designed to streamline and enhance all of your organizational communication. Now, the core purpose of Viva Amplify is to provide this centralized platform that does enable you as an organization and groups of people to plan, create, manage, and analyze internal communication campaigns across multiple different channels within the ecosystem. So things like Teams and SharePoint and Outlook and even Viva Engage as our distribution channels. All right. Let's get stuck into the first section of this workshop where we're going to get started with Viva Amplify. So we'll jump across into Viva Amplify itself Viva in general actually. So what we can see here, this is the Viva application or the Viva suite of products. Now we can see that we've got on the left-hand side, we've got Amplify, Connections, Engage, Goals, Insights, Learning, Pulse, and Topics. Now this may be different for you depending on your licensing. Now I am going to jump into Viva Amplify, and that is going to take me into the context of Viva Amplify, and we're taken to the Campaigns tab. Now we can see we've got a Getting Started tab as well, where we've got a couple of big tiles here: managing our campaigns, authoring and publishing, viewing and customizing reports, and we've got some links to some Microsoft documentation here. And the first thing we're going to do though is have a look at a couple of pre-built campaigns that Microsoft do ship with Viva Amplify. So if we see here, we've got two campaigns that are pre-built. We've got the Copilot deployment kit, and we've also got Viva for AI transformation. And you can see that each one has a certain number of publications that are ready to go, specific to that particular campaign. But what we're going to do is we are going to create a blank campaign, and then we're going to have a look at the distribution channels and everything that is a part of a campaign. So let's get stuck into creating our first campaign. We'll click on blank campaign. Now the campaign name here is going to, well, in our context and in this video here, we will create a campaign all about our new product. So we're launching a new product. We will call this Project Alpha, right? So it's an internal project or an internal product that we're going to call Project Alpha. We can give our campaign a description, and we've got a thumbnail color. So I'm going to choose a light blue, and we'll click on next. Now this is where we can include all of our campaign members. So there's usually a number of people that are part of our communications or part of this campaign that we want to bring across into here. And this is great for cross collaboration, right? So it might mean that there are people that are across your organization that you want to pull in to be part of this communications campaign. So we'll bring in Megan, we'll bring in Nesta as well, and we'll also bring in Adele. All right, so now we've got 4 people that are part of this campaign. Now, we're going to create our campaign. Now, there's a few things that are happening behind the scenes here. Now, what Viva Amplify does is it creates this collaboration platform for us as well. Now, it utilizes Microsoft Teams. So it's creating a Microsoft team in the background where we can then store and communicate or store our documents and also have conversations around this particular campaign. Now, we can see here, once this has been created, we've got our campaign canvas, all right? And this is our homepage for our campaign. let's take a look around our campaign. So we've got our tabs across the top here. So we've got overview, which gives us the ability to create a campaign, and we can see that we've got a number of different starter templates that we can choose from. We've got, we can go to our campaign brief, we can manage our membership of the group, we've got our recent publications, and we've also got any resources that we want to have as part of our campaign. Top right hand corner, we've got our members where we can manage our members. So if I click on manage members, you can see that I've got a list here. I can change who they are. Now you can see that there's different roles as part of this campaign. The owner, we've got approvers, and we've got editors as well. Now, just to preempt a future part of this workshop, I'm just going to set Megan as an approver. All right, because part of what Viva Amplify can do is actually create an approval process prior to any communication going out. So I'm going to set Megan as an approver. All right, so we'll change that role for her and we're good. Now you can see we can chat in Teams. So when I click on chat in Teams, that's going to open up that Microsoft Team for us. And I'm just going to cancel this and I'm going to use the web app instead. And it takes me to the Microsoft team that's been created or provisioned for the use of this particular campaign. So I can see down the bottom here, Project Alpha, it's a team, it's got a general channel, it's got our files tab here as well. So it creates this collaboration area for us in addition to what we can do with our campaign. So I'll just flick back over to our overview here. We've got our settings icon, so we can see we've got our campaign name, we've got our description, we've got our display, and you can see here, require approval before publishing. So we could turn that to on. For now, I'm just gonna leave it as off. We've got our campaign brief tab. So this is where we can enter in our campaign goals. We've got our campaign objectives, and we've got our key messages. Now you'll notice something interesting here. Now what we've got is we've got Copilot integration in with Viva Amplify as well. And in the next section of the workshop, we'll have a look at how we can use Copilot to help us enhance and refine our objectives and our key messages. We've got our publications tab. This is where all of our publications that are part of this campaign will reside. We've got a new button, we've got a recycle bin, we've got our options to view in a card format or a list format, and we've got some filtering capabilities as well. The last tab here is our reporting. So this is where we can analyze the effectiveness of our campaigns, right? Obviously no data yet because we haven't published anything, but we've got a promotions card, we've got a reactions card, and we've got our data at the top. We can also set a goal, right? So that takes us back to our campaign brief. Now our goal here, total unique viewers. We can set our goal if we want to as well. So let's go and we can set a 4% viewership here. So your unique viewers here. So we can see we've got a way to analyze our communications. All right. So that's getting started with Viva Amplify. The next part of this workshop is going to actually be creating our first publication as part of this campaign. All right, so let's now create our first publication. We've got our campaign all set up. Now it's time to create our publications. Now the first thing we're going to do though is we're going to complete this campaign brief. So in our campaign objectives here, I'm just going to paste in the objectives for this particular campaign. All right, so I've got that pre-written here. I'll paste that in and I'll just hit enter. Now let's also have a look at what Copilot does in this scenario here. So I'm going to select this text and I can see here that I can auto rewrite or I can make some adjustments to the tone. All right, so let's have a look at what we can do. So let's just click on auto rewrite and see what happens. So we can see that Copilot's drafting some rewrites for me. So let's have a look and see what we come back with and see if it's any better to what we've already got. So So you can see I've got three options here. So Copilot's rewritten this, and we can skip through the different. We can see the changes and the different variants that Copilot has come up with. All right. So let's have a look and see. We might go for number 2 here. So what we'll do, we can either insert it below, or we can replace the content. So I'm going to replace the content, and now we're looking good. So we've got our campaign objectives. Now our key messages. Let's pop in our key messages here. So again, I can use Copilot if I wanted to jump in here. I can go auto rewrite, or I can adjust. So let's adjust this, right? So what we might do is let's adjust this to be more enthusiastic. So again, we're drafting rewrites, or Copilot's drafting rewrites here, and it's going to pull together and create some draft responses for me. Again, providing 3 responses. I've got 1, I've got 2, and I've got 3. Okay, so let's go with number 3. That looks pretty good. I'm going to replace that. Okay, so now we click on save. That's saving our key messages of our campaign, and we've now saving our campaign objectives as well. So we are now all set up. Let's create our first publication. So we can do this a couple of ways. On the overview tab, we can create based on one of these templates, or I can jump into publications and I can click the new button. So that I'm here, I'll just click the new button and we'll create our first publication. So that is now loading into the editor. But what you will notice is that when I do it that way, I don't get the choice of the template. So if I jump back here and I go to overview, you can see I've got different types of publications or templates here that are available to me. So I've got the Amplify template, I've got the newsletter template, I've got an event template, and I've got a status update template. Now, if I flick over here, you can see that this is just a blank template, all right? So and you can notice by the title area here that is this blank template. So whenever we create a new publication from this publications tab, it creates that for us, all right? So I've got my publication. Now, this is probably pretty familiar to you. Looks like a SharePoint page. That's because it is a SharePoint page, right? So we've got the SharePoint capabilities here, all right? So I've got my title area, and you can see that I can choose from different styles, all right? So I'm going to change this to image block like so, and I can then also select an image, right? So we're just going to go through and set this page up, right? So again, it's the same as setting or creating a SharePoint news article, right? Now, this product that we're going to launch is actually a drone, right? So what we're going to do is I'm going to put a little picture of a drone here, all right? So we'll do that. Let's change our focal area, and I'll just put that down a little bit here. Now, the first publication is going to be basically introducing this. So this has been a private internal product that's been developed, right? And now we're ready to, I guess, release this internally to everybody else, right? So we want to create some awareness around our new product. So we've given this a title. Now I've got some introductory text here that I'm going to copy and I'm going to paste. All right. So we've got our content here. Let's just fix up a little bit of formatting. We'll do some bullet points, and this is looking pretty good. Now you'll also see that we do have Copilot accessibility here too. So what we might do is I'm just going to have a look at this opening paragraph. Now I'm going to select Copilot, I'm going to adjust, and let's make this more enthusiastic, all right? Again, like we saw before with the objectives and the messages, we can use Copilot to enhance our text on our communication page as well. So this is looking pretty good. Again, I get 3 options to have a look at. I like my first option here. I'm going to replace it. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We're good to go. Now you'll also see that we can continue creating our page. So we might want to break this up, right? So you can see that I can add sections. So like a SharePoint page, I can do 3 columns. So what we might do down here is let's add the image web part, and we might add a couple more images of drones, right? So let's have a look at, pop this image in here. We'll pop another image web part in here as well. So we'll go stock images. Let's find another drone image here. This looks good. We'll pop that in there, and then we'll do one more image web part. And let's find another image of our drone. This one looks nice. So we'll insert that. So we've got some images here as well. All right. But let's break this up even further. So I'm going to just cut this out because I want the images to kind of be halfway through. Now the next section here, I'm just going to add in another 1 column. I'm going to add my text. I'm going to paste that text in there. And now we've kind of got a broken up page. Now let's have a look at this section. So again, we can break the page up, put a bit of styling on it. We might give this a blue background. And down the bottom here, let's just give this a grey background, right? So now we've broken up our page. We've given it a little bit of more visual impact here as well. And that's now looking good. Once we've done this, the next part of the process is to go through our distribution channels. So that's what we're going to cover in our next section of the workshop. So now that we've got our publication ready to go, I'm just going to click on the next button. So that's saving this page for me. Now we can see that we've got our distribution channels ready to look at. I'm previewing this for Outlook. So one of the channels is going to be email. I've got SharePoint. So if I click on SharePoint, this is how it's going to look inside SharePoint. And then I've got Microsoft Teams as well. So it's going to push this out as a post to Microsoft Teams if I wanted to. So I'm going back to Outlook. And you can see that when I scroll down, this has now been created as an email. So that page has now converted, or not converted, but has been made into a really nice looking email communication. Now on the right hand side, and you can see this little message, it's been formatted for Outlook. Some of the content may be adjusted for this channel. Now the interesting part here is that we could, if we wanted to, adjust this for email as well. So we could, if we needed to, we could add some content in here. Now, what we'll see here is we've got so up the top right-hand corner, if we did want to customize, I can click this customize button, and I could, if I wanted to, do this. Let's just add that there. Now you can see here, updates made here are not going to reflect the main draft or the other distribution channels. Okay, so this is just for this distribution channel. Now, what we might do, I'll go, hello there, email users, and I'll just click back to preview, and then I've got that text that's been added. Now, if I jump over to SharePoint, you'll see that that text isn't there, so it is specific to that channel. I've got my little edit icon there, so I know that that channel's been created. So we can see we've got on the right hand side, who we're going to send this to. So we could, if we had a group or a distribution list or something like that, send that out via email to the whole company. But I'm just going to choose Megan for now. I've got CC and BCC as well, and I can send myself a test email as well. So I'll do that now, so that that test email has just been sent to Alex's inbox. We'll keep this as draft, and let's go back over to SharePoint. We can see that that's like we saw before. Now you can see that we can add this to SharePoint sites, and we've got 10 sites that we could actually add this to. Now our intranet is the landing, so I'm just going to post this as a news article on the intranet. Now Teams, again, we've got the ability here to post this to Microsoft Teams. Okay, so I've got Teams, 5 Teams channels left. Now I'm just going to, let's go for Digital Assets Web. All right, so I'm going to go to the Mark 8 project team, and I'll choose that channel. I can choose the reply option. So do I want people to reply to this Microsoft Teams post when it gets posted? So I'll say yes. Post options, I've got post or an announcement, and I can post a test message if I wanted to. I'm just going to leave that like it is. All right. You'll also notice up here that I've just got my little drop down. All right. So I think we're ready to go. All right. So I think we've got our Outlook, we've got our SharePoint ready to go, and we've got Teams ready to go as well. Now I could customize, if again, like we saw before, I could customize this to this particular channel, which is Teams. Now, our publishing options. We've got 3 publishing options available to us. We've got the ability to publish right now, which is just going to push it out right now. We've got the ability to schedule to publish, or we can request approval. So if I publish now, obviously it's going to publish right now. I can schedule this. Now think about a campaign. We might have 5 or 6 or 7 different types of publications that we want it to be as a part of this campaign. So if we remember back to one of the other campaigns, so I'll just pop back here and I'll go back to the campaigns section, and one of the pre-built campaigns that are available had a number of different publications. So you can see I've got 8 publications, I've got 10 publications. Now, if we had that many publications, we could schedule these out we could create all of our publications. So in this case, our Copilot deployment kit, we would actually create 8 publications and have them ready to go and done on a schedule, which means that is a whole automated process, right? So you line it all up, create all your publications, schedule them out, and then it's on autopilot, okay? So let's have a look at the publication summary. So we take a moment to review before continuing. So you can see that we've got our Outlook, who it's going to, our SharePoint, the site that it's going to, the team that it's going to get published to as well. All right, we'll click on next. Now, because we're scheduling, we need to determine when we're going to schedule this. All right, so we can see our publish date. Now I'm going to choose Monday, and I will choose 9:30 a.m. All right, so we'll schedule that, and that then will be scheduled to go out. I don't have to touch it again, right? So that now will be popped in the pipeline. It is now scheduled, all right? So if I close this down, I'll go back to my main draft. There's my main draft. I'll go back to campaign, and what we'll see on our campaign homepage, once this loads, is that we've got our recent publication, which has been scheduled. From here, I can edit the scheduling, I can request approval, or I can publish that now as well. Okay, so when I go to request approval, what that's going to do is allow me to type in the approver's name. So remembering back to when we were editing or changing the membership, we added Megan as an approver. So the approvers that you make, or that role, those people will appear here. All right, so let's hit Megan. We could, if we had multiple approvers, require responses from all. I won't do that. I'll mark it as important. I'll click next. Now the schedule, the publication, we can manually publish or we can automatically publish. So once this has been approved, that's what our options are. All right. So I am going to just say automatically publish, and I'll hit send. All right. So now that's sending Megan an approval process for her to then either approve, and then once that's approved, that will then publish that publication automatically. All right, because that's the option that we chose. All right, so we'll just wait for that to go through, and then we'll have a look at what that looks like from the approver's end as well. All right, so I'm logged in as Megan here. I'm in the team, right? So here's the team that's been created for our for our communication. So we've got Project Alpha, General Channel. Now this has been, here's the approval, right? So this has been sent, been posted to this General Channel here. And what Megan can now do is either open up the publication itself and say, let's just say all good. I'm going to approve that directly from this adaptive card inside of Teams, okay? And it's done via the Approvals app. Now, what that means, and you can see there, the final status has been approved. This is now changed to approved. Because it's in the Approvals app, if I open up the Approvals app, all my approvals come through that application itself, all right? So there it is there. It's been requested, it's been approved. And now if I jump back to Alex, what we'll see is if I refresh this, let's have a look. Right, it's publishing right now, so it's being sent. So if there's the approval that Alex gets notification inside of Teams. Now let's have a look at, that sounded like a ding from probably Megan's inbox, because she was the person that we nominated as receiving that email. So there's the email that's come through, right? So you can see there's the customization. There's the email that's come through. Now, if I flick back here, let's open up the landing, right? So if I go to my SharePoint app, and then we'll open up our intranet, and let's have a look and see if it's been published on our intranet. So we'll see here, we'll scroll down, and there's the there's the page, there's a notification there, and there's also, that is the news article there, all right? So there it is, there's the page, it's been published. If I jump back here, it's actually popped it on the Viva feed as well. So there's the page, it's now opened. Now what about Teams? And we go to our Mark 8 project team, to our digital assets web, we can see that we've got our post that has been added to Microsoft Teams as well. So we can see the images come through as well, right? So we've got all of the content that's come through there. It's been posted into Teams. So we've got our 3 channels. We've got our email, we've got SharePoint as on our intranet, and we've also got our Microsoft Teams as our distribution channels that we've chosen. And those that single publication has been published to each of those channels. So the publication's been launched, it's been out there in the wild to our distribution channels. Remembering we sent it via Outlook, Teams, and SharePoint. Let's measure the impact, or let's have a look at the stats around this. Now, given that this is a new publication and it's a small organization, we can see that we've got 2 views. Now, we've also got the ability to view the report. So if I jump into the report, we can see a few different things here. So we've got the reach and engagement section here, where we can see the unique viewers, and we've got the all-time option here, and you can see that we've got this option where it says Outlook greater than 99%, and here on the right hand side we can view our channel breakdown also. So we can see that we've got SharePoint, Teams, and Outlook broken up into this line graph. We've got the ability to also go through different periods of time and have a look at I guess the impact over a period of time. We can also copy these as images. So if I copy this as an image, and let's say maybe I jump into Microsoft Teams, right? So, or maybe let's have a chat with Megan. So what we'll do is we'll paste that image into the chat, and that gives Megan then the ability to look at that. So there's our image from the reporting, all right? So if I jump back over here, if I scroll down, how many times has it been shared? Well, this one hasn't been shared. We've got our reactions as well. So if we jump into Teams, I'll go into Digital Assets Web, and once this gets picked up, what we might do is, let's go, we'll find out, where's our thumb? There it is there. So we'll like this post here. Looks good. And once that gets picked up, what will happen is we'll see positive reactions and all that sort of stuff too. All right. So the emojis, if I refresh this, we'll see let's see if it's picked up yet. Not yet, but they will come through there. Now, if I scroll down the bottom here, we've got our detailed report, so we can view our metrics for each distribution channel. You can see that we've got audience, organization, level, function type, layer, and location as well, plus the breakdown by, we can break down by as well. There's our filters, so we can select our Outlook, SharePoint, or Teams. Now, Engage is coming soon, that you can see there. So from a reporting perspective per publication as well, then it gives us a really good overview of how our publications are doing. So a way that you could interpret this is, you know, if people are, depending on how they're consuming your publications, could determine how you move forward with the rest of your communication plans as well. So if people are reading it more on SharePoint, then a focus on SharePoint as the distribution channel as opposed to Outlook or Teams. So those type of things can be gained from this information here. We can also edit the view, so we can include the whole organization. We can view page time zone as UTC as well, okay? And we've got a few exporting options as well. So we can export as CSV, or we can export to PowerPoint as well, all right? And that's per publication. All right, so let's now talk templates. Now, remembering that when we created our first publication, it created it on a blank template. Now, you'll see on the overview tab here that we've got different templates that are available to us. Pre-done by Microsoft. If I click view more templates, you can see that I've got a few other ones. So you can see I've got blank, newsletter, event, status update, starter, training, recap, message. So we've got different types of templates that we can use, but we can also create our own. Okay, so what we might do is let's have a look. Let's go newsletter. So we'll start with, and we'll use this template. So we'll start the process here. So this brings up the template. Okay, so we've got a title, we've got some structure, we've got an image, we've got 2-column section, we've got a 2-column section here, a 1/3 left here, we've got a 2-column section here with image and text, and we've got a few different other sections. Now we can add this, let's give this a title. So what we might say here is Copilot Studio newsletter template, all right? So we'll craft this. We'd add our web parts, we'd set our structure, we'd add some templated content potentially to replace when somebody's creating a publication. And then what we can do is we can say save as template. All right, so once we've crafted and once we've got everything and laid out the way we want, we might even have a standard header that we want to have for all of our newsletter publications, right? So you could create a campaign that just does your newsletters or your company comms, for example. So let's go for these toothbrushes, right? Our company does toothbrushes now. So we'll change our focal point. Let's bring these down here. And here is our newsletter template. So I want to use this and I want to save this as a template. So now it's saving, and we'll go save as template, top right-hand corner. And we need to add a publication title. All right, so let's go this, let's go newsletter template. All right, so we'll give this our template, because what it's done is just created another copy. So we've got a template, newsletter template. Let's call this the Copilot Studio newsletter template. All right, so we'll save that. We'll save this as a template, and we are then able to reuse this. Okay, so not just the out-of-the-box templates, but what we could do is now use our custom template. All right, so we'll jump back onto our campaign, which is here. Now, if I go to view more templates, you can see that we've got our out-of-the-box templates. And now when I come to campaign templates here, I've got this campaign template that I can then say, yep, let's use this template. What we're going to do though is we're going to delete this one. All right, so we don't need that. But now what I can do is I can go view more templates. I'll go to campaign templates and I'll click use this template, and that's going to then start my next my next one from that particular template. So you don't have to just use the out of the box Microsoft based templates. You can use and create your own. Now, the other things to point out here around our web parts. So what we can see there is that although in SharePoint, this is a SharePoint page, we do have a cut down web part gallery. All right, so you don't have access to all the web parts that you do in SharePoint, but it is more of a cut down version, because remembering we've got to cater for different channels, so things like email and that type of thing. All right, so you do have not the complete web part gallery at your disposal there. All right, so there we go. Viva Amplify. That brings us to the end of the workshop. I hope that brings you some value. So just to recap, Viva Amplify really does or can bring together groups of people or individuals into a single place and create that central place where you can create and manage and collaborate around your communication campaigns. We can schedule our campaigns out. So again, a really good advantage is being able to really create your publications ahead of time, schedule them out on a schedule, go through approval processes if you need to, pick your distribution channels, and then have that all done on autopilot. A really good way that I've found to, especially when we're rolling out when I'm rolling out Copilot in organizations, is to have a scheduled campaign all around awareness of Copilot, and that then goes out on, let's say, a Tuesday at 9:30 every single week for 7 weeks. That's the length of the campaign. It's really just then done on autopilot. We can set, we can forget, and it just gets pushed out to those different channels. We can come back and report, and we can amend the publication schedule or the distribution channels if we need to as well, based on the analytics. So there we go. Thanks for joining the workshop. Again, I hope that brings you some value. Hit me up on email. Give me some feedback there. So if you head to, or shoot me an email, daniel@danielanderson.com.au, and then I'll reply to that as well. So again, thanks for joining. If you're watching the replay, I hope that brings you some value. You can stop, rewind, pause, all that sort of stuff. See you in the next one.